And I grabbed it first, and I grabbed my first one. I'll make this almost on the years of 6 months, and then this goes first round and that was true, they were safe. Now, Mary, it's still.
Oh.
We saw it, fighting. There's that Selma.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Searchlight Town Advisory Board meeting. All items on the agenda may be taken out of order. The board may combine 2 or more agenda items for consideration. The board may remove an item from the agenda or delay discussion relating to an item at any time. No action may be taken on any matter not listed on the posted agenda. All planning and zoning matters heard at this meeting are forwarded to the Board of County Commissioners, Zoning Commission, or the Clark County Planning Commission for final action. Please turn off or mute all cell phones and other electronic devices. Please take all private conversations outside the room. With a 48-hour advance request, a sign language interpreter or other reasonable efforts to assist and accommodate persons with physical disabilities may be made available by calling the toll-free numbers listed on your agenda. Supporting material provided to the board members for this meeting may be requested from Tammy Harris at 702-298-0828. Supporting material will also be available at the Clark County Department of Administrative Services, 500 South Grand Central Parkway, 6th floor, Las Vegas, Nevada. And supporting material will also be available on the county's website at clarkcountynv.gov/searchlight tab. Board members: Kyle Myers, Chairperson; James Allen, Vice Chairperson; Kim Colton, Kayla McGinnis, and Robert Sean; Secretary Tammy Harris, and County Liaison Mark Moskowitz. And to call this meeting to order, and all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Moving on to a roll call. Kyle Myers here. James Allen.
Here.
Kim Colton.
Here.
Kayla McGinnis.
Here.
Robert Sean. 4 present and 1 absent members. Moving on to public comment. This is a period devoted to comments by the general public about items on this agenda. No discussion, action, or vote may be taken on this agenda item. You will be afforded the opportunity to speak on individual public hearing items at the time they are presented. If you wish to speak to the board about items within its jurisdiction but not appearing on this agenda, you must wait until the comments by the general public period listed at the end of this agenda. Comments will be limited to 3 minutes. Please step up to the speaker's podium. If applicable, clearly state your name and address, and please spell your last name for the record. If any member of the board wishes to extend the length of a presentation, this will be done by the chairperson or the board by majority vote. If anyone has any public comments, please come up to the speaker's podium. Thank you. And on to the approval of the minutes for the July 12th meeting.
Motion to approve.
We have a second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approval of July 12th, 2023 minutes. Approval of the agenda for August 9th, 2023, and hold, combine, or delete any items. We have a motion to approve.
All motion.
We have a second.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Agenda approval for August 9th, 2023. Moving on to informational items. Item number 1, receive a report and updates from the South County Liaison, Martin Moskowitz, regarding updates on the Searchlight Health and Wellness Fair held on July 22nd and upcoming Searchlight Animal Clinic being held August 19th, and any other updates from Clark County.
Perfect, thank you. First, I wanted to say thank you so much for everyone who came out to the Health and Wellness Fair. We had a decent turnout of members of the community. I want to thank Michelle Brown for really helping us set everything up and get it going, and also all of our partners. We had the fire district there. This is really just a question to the community. I know we had a lot of people show up, but I know we can have more people show up. So I want to ask the community to think of ways. I mean, we did a lot. We did a lot of promotion. We put it on social media. We sent out postcards to every PO box, but I know we could have more people show up than did. So I want to ask this community, because I know we're tight knit, how can we get more people to come? I mean, our office is open to changing the time of the event, the day of the event, if it needs to be during the week. So really just think about it. Please contact our office and let us know, because we had so many great services. I mean, there's over $1,000 in services, from booster seats to dental screens to vision stuff, like so many great things in the community. And I know I want to make sure we're getting the right people there. So if there's something, like say there's work that's causing them not to be available, please let our office know. We want to adjust it to make it work for everyone else. Time that we think might work might not work for everyone. So that's just think about that, and please let me know, because we're looking to do these events annually. That's Commissioner Knapp's real push, is to bring all these services. So please think of like the ways that will make them more attended by the community. We did have about 52 people come, which is great, but I know we can get more. So we didn't see as many familiar faces, but next time we hope to. With that, our next event is going to be the Searchlight Vaccine Animal Clinic. That'll be at the fire station. That's going to be on Saturday, August 19th. I want to thank Kim Colton. She's always been fantastic in helping us get that set up. That'll be from 9 to 11. There's some flyers in the back. Let us know if you have any questions. We had a great turnout last year. We're looking for the same amount of turnout this year. So yeah, if you have any questions, please contact our office. And once again, thank you to the fire department for being there. Animal Protective Services will be there as well. So their office will be there to answer any questions. They were there last year as well. So a few other things. Thank you to our Clark County Fire Department for the York Fire. I know that was there was a lot going on. I appreciate everyone that we all stayed safe. Eventually, it was able to be kind of contained. There was Commissioner Knapp and I were working through the night, finding out what to do, what to jump state lines, but all the agencies involved did a really good job. So we should really commend them. And I want to thank Kyle Myers as well as Michelle Brown for helping to push out the message that we were putting out on social media, because that really helped to let people know the updates. So thank you for that. That was good in that time. I know we're texting left and right, so I appreciate it. Two other things. This actually just came out today. There's some flyers in the back to get some discounted home internet. So it's about $30 a month towards home internet services. There's a lot of flyers in the back. This literally just came out today, so I don't have too much information, but please contact our office if you have more questions about it. It's a great opportunity to be able to get some internet in Searchlight and other areas at an affordable rate. They're doing an event on Saturday, October 7th at the UNLV Student Union from 9:30 to 2:30 p.m. to kind of help people get signed up and started. To do this program, you don't have to go to that event. This is just kind of like a helpful event, but they're able to answer all questions. So like I said, it just came out. There's a website about it, but please contact our office if you have any questions on that. And the last update I have is Commissioner Knapp's newsletter was just released for August. There's some copies in the back. Please be sure to pick that up. Lots of good information in here. There's some highlights of what we've done in the last month. As always, contact our office if you'd like to be on the email distribution list for it. We're more than happy to add you to that. So for that, those are all my updates. So thank you.
I'd just like to give another round of thanks to Mark and the Commissioner's office for not only their dedication and their response for the York fire, but for bringing these these amazing programs to the Searchlight community with the Health and Wellness Fair and the Animal Clinic. So thank you, Mark. And thank you, Kim, for working with Mark in the Commissioner's office to get the Animal Clinic going. And then I'd like to also, for the record, thank all the brave men and women who went out and fought the York Fire for not only Searchlight's protection, but the Mojave Preserve and Southern Nevada's protection. At this time, I'd like to open up any questions for Mark to the public. Nothing out there for Mark? Anything from the board?
Yes.
Kim?
I did notice that you were putting out notifications on this on Nextdoor, the app, that Clark County puts out information on that.
Yeah.
The platform as well. We do have a Nextdoor app. Going to probably hand that over to Kyle at some point to manage, because he's good at that. But that is another way that I saw that there was connection out here as far as updates for the New York Fire, so appreciate that part.
Of course. Yeah, and let us know any other ways. I mean, we mobilized pretty quickly. We never had something that drastic come in. It was 10 miles away, but we were able to get a lot of good messages out. So any other platforms we need to be aware of, I mean, always follow Clark County's Twitter.
Mark, is that platform is called Nextdoor? Nextdoor.
Yeah, so Clark County will post on Nextdoor. They kind of post on all of them, but the way I was giving it to you to get more of the other groups and organizations that are in county. So we're always willing to push out as much information as we can to the community, so please let us know.
I did have one comment. So people that can get this information through social media, we've got to have internet, whether it's phone use or not. We don't have television service out here at all. And I've tried 3 different antennas in order to try and get it from Las Vegas, and none of them work. I've scaled it up in price every time going to a higher antenna. At one point back in 2010, we had
I want to say there was a contract with the county from, I know it ended in 2010. I want to say it began in 1998, somewhere around there. I do recall that service as I was growing up watching the programming. And I was able to unearth the contract at one point in time, but I'd have to dig it back up.
So it's one of the issues here is that if you do not and cannot afford to have, or choose not to have like a DirecTV or Cox Internet, we cannot get local channels. We can't find out for the political races.
Sure.
There's a lot of information. We can't find out in an emergency situation like this. The average individual that has a TV but cannot get any local channels through antennas. So we really do need to establish something for an emergency situation like this to get at least one local channel out here available to our people.
Yeah, and I'll look into that. I know we've been looking broadly, and I know Alliance with the SDA is here, but I know we're looking at bringing more broadband internet and communication like that. And I feel like that, I want to make sure I make a note of that to let them know, not just internet, but also potential cable and all that. So,
just the local channels, if there's a way to get
Just
an
a
antenna out here.
basic, weather, news, local news,
Yeah,
About 8:13,
let me make a note on that, and I can find some more information and be able to share it with the board and the community. At this time, I don't have a lot of information, but I don't think it's difficult to ask. We'll definitely ask and see what we can get back with it on that information. So, yeah.
Fantastic, thank
Of
you.
course.
Thank you very much, Mark. Anything else from the board? All right, thanks again, Mark.
Of course.
Moving on to informational item 2, receive a report from Andrew Bennett, Director of the Office of Traffic Safety, to discuss ongoing traffic safety efforts in Clark County.
Good afternoon. Good one.
I think so.
Okay. Good afternoon, Chair Myers, Vice Chair Allen, members of the board. Good afternoon. My name is Andrew Bennett, and I have the privilege of being before you today as your Director of the Clark County Office of Traffic Safety. The purpose of coming down here was not only to introduce myself, but my office, and give a commitment to the South County that it will be another 18 months before you see me again. The Clark County Office of Traffic Safety is the newest Clark County department. I'm the 39th department here at the county, specifically focused on the title, traffic safety. We all experience traffic in different ways every single day. And it's, you might not see it on the news down here, but the reason that traffic and weather is on the news every single day is because those are the two things that we experience collectively. And unfortunately, all too often, we have failures in our systems that result in fatalities. And that is the ultimate goal of the Clark County Office of Traffic Safety, is to eliminate and reduce fatalities so that everyone can arrive home safely. And there's a sense of urgency in this office because literally lives are on the line when we're talking about traffic safety. That is the extreme, but how we approach traffic safety is that if we can reduce that extreme, we'll make our roads safer for everyone. And so 18 months ago, Clark County decided to create this office. Every state is required to have a traffic safety office. Here in the state of Nevada, it's located within our state police. Previous to my time at the county, I spent 7 years at the Nevada State Police within the Office of Traffic Safety, working on the Zero Fatalities program, writing snarky signs over freeways, and trying to bring that message and creating that conversation about traffic safety. But when the Board of County Commissioners made that decision to create a local municipality traffic safety office, which is the first in the country to have a local municipal traffic safety office that isn't tied to our engineering team. I'm not under Public Works. I work directly for the county manager and the board, located within the office of the county manager, and working with my peers, whether it's in planning or Public Works, to try to make our roadways safer for the people that use them every day. And so what specifically sets me apart from maybe Public Works or even the police is I look at both not only the roadway that we build, but then how people use it. We can put a beautiful road down anywhere, but there's always that opportunity for someone to misinterpret it, make a mistake, and that's why we're looking to build in redundancy into our roadways. Take away, that error that could be fatal. Unfortunately, one of the worst parts of my job is every single day I go out to the fatalities in Clark County. Today we've had 3 so far. I started my day at 3:30 on Lake Mead and was police with 2 teenagers that were killed in a crash. And that puts it in perspective of what we're trying to achieve. And in any government, whether it was the time at the state or the time here at the county, when people hear what I do, everybody has a traffic story. And I love hearing those stories. And, I'm not here to tell you I'm the government and I'm here to help. But I want to make sure that you guys understand that we are taking a renewed approach to traffic safety that is rather unique. And we've made some significant progress in the urban environment. Largely, we've reduced right-of-way fatalities by 40% in the last 18 months just by suppressing the flashing yellow arrows that you might see, and making sure that we take that guessing game during peak times. And a lot of the questions I answered is, we've wanted a crosswalk here for the longest time, but we keep on getting told no. There's nothing more frustrating, number one, than that no, and then not, receiving a why to that no. And my hope is not every time it's not a no, but to be able to explain what that cone represents or that lack of a cone represents is also the goal of this office, because engineering is going to get us to a certain point. Human behavior takes us to the next point, enforcement gets us to the next point, and that's how we approach traffic safety every day, is through engineering, education, and enforcement. I work very, very closely with Las Vegas Metro. About 30% of my time is dedicated to working on traffic enforcement with the Traffic Bureau, but also with the area commands as well. Because every law enforcement officer that works our road is responsible for, the preservation of life. And unfortunately, the most dangerous thing you do every single day is get behind the wheel or walk across the street, and it shouldn't be that way. And so our goal is to reverse that here in the county, preserve life, make some beautiful roads along the way with trees and full amenities, so that you can feel comfortable when you're traveling the roads. But then also to help you navigate the government. There's, the second most, annoying thing besides being told no is that's a state street. or, that's not our road. And so to be able to connect you with the actual people that it is, if it's not our road and we don't have direct action over that, we can, work with you to get that request into the right place. I'm mostly here, again, just to introduce myself in the office. I do encourage you that if you have questions, I'm here to take any questions now, but feel free to go through Mark, or as well, my email for the office is very simple. It's trafficsafety@clarkcountymv.gov. I have plenty of cards with me, but again, feel free to use that email, go through Mark. Commissioner Naft was vital in the creation of this office, trying to move some progress forward and getting everybody home safe at the end of each day. So that's a very, very brief introduction. Again, I'm not going to wait another 18 months to come down, and I hope to work with you guys in the interim for any concerns that you may have, but I'd be happy to answer any questions that you guys might have.
Thank you very much, Andrew. I'd like to open questions up to the board. Questions from the board?
Go ahead.
All right, so me too. So, Mr. Menon, we spoke a little bit before the meeting. You were somewhat aware of the Cottonwood Cove project. I think that would probably be the best traffic safety device Searchlight has seen in quite some time. Giving the walking paths on both sides of Cottonwood Cove Road. It's the main road for Searchlight residents. Obviously, it connects the center here, the school, the library, park amenities, courthouse. So and from the stretch being from the 95 out to here at Michael Wendell Way, it would connect the entire community to the 95's walkways, which could take them to any other commercial area in town. So it wouldn't matter where a family lived, they would have direct access to get to those walkways. Would you be able to shed any light on anything you know regarding this project?
Absolutely. So in the last 18 months, and as someone who was born and raised here in Southern Nevada, and some of my earliest memories were going out to Cottonwood Cove with the family, I was excited to see that project come across my desk. I can't tell you the percentage of completion. You mentioned the last time you heard was 60%. I can tell you it's above 60%. I believe it's closer to 90%. But one of the opportunities I have every week is I sit down with our public works director for 4 hours every Thursday. And so between the Searchlight meeting, or the meeting here and the meeting yesterday in Laughlin, I have a list to bring back, and we'll get you an answer hopefully by the end of tomorrow of where exactly that is. But I know that has come across my desk in the last 18 months, and probably sooner than later. And so we know that there's progress, and we hope to have dates for you soon.
As 19 months the office has been created, does the Office of Traffic Safety work with other county departments or organizations to help achieve its goals?
Absolutely. One of the things I did during my interview for this was I was handed the org chart for the county with 38 departments. And I was asked, certain departments they think you're going to most work with the most. And not trying to be sarcastic, I just circle the whole thing, because every single day, we all touch traffic safety, and whether it's business licensing with holding bars accountable for serving patrons, whether it's CPS, making sure that we have car seats for the children that their foster care, obviously public works, planning, Parks and Rec and RPM recently. So it is almost every department, and making sure that we set quality policy so that we have this foundation for long-term success and not just decisions in the short term.
That's exactly the answer I was looking for. Would one of the departments or more so organizations that you partner with be the Clark County School District? Has the Public Works, in your knowledge, or the Office of Traffic Safety reached out to the school district in maybe a possible collaboration for the Cottonwood Cove project, hence it is the safe route to school for every child in this neighborhood?
I don't know to since my time being here, one of our biggest projects that we've worked in South County with the school district and with Public Works was the path in Laughlin to connect the two schools, if you're familiar with that cut through, and designating that as a safe route to school. When we build projects adjacent or next to a school, that's always kept in mind. We haven't specifically had that conversation, but I'm happy to bring that up. And I know the school district's right after me as well, so make sure that they know that your priorities as well. But, as you all know, we just started school this week, and making sure that we have plenty of crossing guards in town. We're about 40 short countywide, and making sure that we get our most vulnerable population into school every single day is a top priority. But we always look at a road project when it's next to a school to make sure that it's extremely appropriate.
Thank you so much for that. Also, you mentioned that that Cottonwood Cove project that came across your desk. Would you happen to have seen any other Searchlight projects come across your desk?
So Mark does a great job of keeping me informed of the happenings. I've been within the last 2 days pretty much down here between Laughlin and Searchlight and driving around. And, unfortunately, that's the answer you probably get a lot from the county is, we make a quick stop down here. And that is, as a director, I made it a priority to actually be here and be present.
We appreciate that.
And because we have had an example yesterday, again, I hate to keep on giving you Laughlin examples because I know Searchlight's not Laughlin.
I'm used to it.
But if you're familiar with the area where the library meets the Family Dollar,
Yes.
there was a concern for a crosswalk there, and the conversation was, it shouldn't be too hard to slap some paint down, and that's where my office really comes in. Is again, yes, we could put some paint down. I believe that would be more deadly than leaving it unimproved at this point, because you're on a blind corner, you're on a hill. Those are all things that have to be taken into consideration, and for us to safely get people across the street right there, it most likely would have to be a full signal, which people aren't, a fan of either. And so it's finding that balance. But Mark and I have talked about the crosswalks around the park. We've talked about four-way stops around the park. These are all things that might not meet the engineering definition of a warrant. And if you've ever talked to Public Works, you're probably familiar with that word of a warrant. We have some wiggle room, and I explained to you earlier of the dangers of putting up a four-way signal where it's not necessarily needed is people get really comfortable in running that stop sign. And so my commitment to you earlier, and I'll state it on the record, is making sure that we take a serious look at that as soon as we'll start the conversation tomorrow, and see if that would improve. I'm not going to bring up the word roundabout because those aren't very popular anywhere, but there's a lot of tools in our toolbox, and it might not just be a four-way. It's a 25-mile-an-hour road that's pretty narrow, so we do have some options there. And if the answer is no for the stop sign, let's try to find another solution to make sure that intersection is as safe as possible.
You mentioned the crosswalk, the example you given in Laughlin. The line of sight was the issue, correct? So recently there was a child injured on Cottonwood Cove Road at an intersection of the Cottonwood Cove Road and Nevada Street, which is about hardly halfway to the center from the 95. Would that be sufficient line of sight for a crosswalk in that intersection?
I would have to take another look. Again, when we build these roads, so much changes from the time we built the roads to today. And so maybe it's just taking a look at landscaping in the area that might be private or public landscaping. But that's something we can definitely check out, but I don't know that at this point.
I've got a couple more for you. I know it feels like it's been forever. So something we've worked with Mark and Tammy we've been trying to get Public Works out for quite some time. One thing we wanted to discuss with them was finishing our streets and our street lights. Is this anything that the Office of the Traffic Safety would be able to assist Public Works in achieving?
Absolutely. So when we talk about developing that policy, that's kind of what I was talking about we're undergoing a process right now called Complete Streets. And I'm going to hedge quickly at the front here and talk about not everything it can apply countywide. I'm coming up against this right now in Indian Springs, right outside of Creech, is we know what the best road looks like. It's curb, gutter, sidewalk, fog line, all the improvements, right? Mark and I drove over a gutter, and he's like, we have infrastructure out here, and I'm like, I'm proud of you, But it is one where, there's also, I can tell you what the best road looks like. Whether that's what the community wants or not is a conversation between you guys, the commissioner, and then Public Works in my office. Again, curb, gutter, sidewalk is gonna be the safest way to get people from point A to point B. I know that's not what everybody wants here. And so we have to, again, find a different solution, whether that's you have a few of them down here with the separated asphalt, paths. That's kind of a one step below the full improvements to the street. There's ADA concerns and making sure that we build our roadways for everyone as well, so that everybody can access them. But the short and the long answer to your question is political will and what the community wants. And that's a lot bigger of a conversation than just 2-minute answer from me.
Absolutely, absolutely. So my last question actually had something to do with ADA, so I'm glad you mentioned that. So you mentioned Mark taking you to the Searchlight Park. Did you see the bus stop there?
The bus, yes.
Yes. So the bus stop there, kids use it for school. From time to time, the Silver Rider uses it as well, which means you have youth, you have senior using that facility. And the right-of-way in between the bus stop and the street has been washed out for quite some time, and I do not believe it would be ADA approved. Would the Office of Traffic Safety be able to look into the situation for the Searchlight community? Wonderful. Well, that is it for me. Is there anybody else for the board who would like to speak on this item?
I did have a couple comments. On Cottonwood Cove, the issue is that we are a small town and shrinking, unfortunately, over the last 20 years. However, our traffic has increased tremendously, and what we're subjected to on the weekends from people going to the Cove, because Lake Mead is declined. We have so much traffic going to Mojave, and we need to have that. They are going to improve the road. But the problem is like Kyle said, is we had an accident where 1 second earlier the child would have been dead. Maybe a half second. It was 2 feet. He didn't get hit by the car and he hit the car instead. And then while we're stopped from that, then we have a drunk driver come and crash in the same intersection 3 minutes later. And that's what I deal with every Sunday, is hundreds of drunk drivers driving fast, and it's only getting worse. So there has to be something, when you look at Cottonwood Cove Road, to put in the speed bumps or something to slow everyone down. So just please keep that in mind when we're going through this. We need to look towards the future and make sure that we're doing it right. And then obviously then we have several other issues that happen. Newton Road is in itself a dangerous road because shoulder, you hook a tire, you're dead. Like there's a rollover. I can't even tell you how many fatalities that I've been on that road. And just for safety of motorcycle, people do a lot of motorcycle rides, so many motorcycle crashes on the road. So it's something that can't be ignored either, because what's happening is we have so much traffic again on Sundays when people are leaving Vegas and don't want to go through the Prim. So they do need to be addressed, both of them. All of 160.
So I appreciate that, and there's no such thing as very unique, but if it was, it'd be Clark County and Las Vegas for sure. And making sure people understand that, the challenge that we have, and it is a challenge, is, we're not only protecting the 2.3 million people that live here, but the 49 million people that visit our towns and drive through our towns. I get that. One of the most successful enforcements I've ever ran was the people that were riding the shoulder and the dirt going down to Prim during like the big weekends. And, you can't get away with everything here. And so there is a healthy mix between enforcement and engineering there. But I hear you, and that's the challenge we're facing, and that's what I go to work for every single day is to try to make it done.
Well, and we should be available for federal grant monies now that we are, that area is now part of the national monument, so it needs addressed.
Yeah, we, just to quickly speak about grants, we just received, Southern Nevada, Clark County, RTC just received a grant for Safe Streets for All, which was a part of the Infrastructure Act, the Bipartisan Infrastructure Act. And one of the things that we're really excited about in that project is Clark County gets 2 demonstration projects to make a short-term fix, literally with Jersey barriers if we need to, or temporary, to show the improvements that we could make and that we should make so that we're able to study it. And our commitment is one of them is going to be in the rules, one of them is going to be in Irvine. We're pushing the RTC to try to get 2, that way we can have one in Mosquito and then one down here. But to be able to show those short-term gains and what we can do and what we should do, we're really excited for that funding. And we've been pretty successful on the safety front of receiving those grants.
Thank you.
Anything else for the board for Mr. Bennett? And this time I'd like to open the discussion up to the public. Anything, anybody out there have anything for Mr. Bennett? Traffic of Office of Traffic Safety. Thank you so much for your time, Mr. Bennett. Informational item number 3, receive a report from Patricia Haddad, Director of Government Relations from Clark County School District to discuss resources available to the community.
Hello, good evening. My name is Patricia Haddad. I am the Director of Government Relations for the Clark County School District. Thank you, Chair Myers, Vice Chair Allen, and Searchlight community for welcoming me to this space today. My role and my department within the Clark County School District is really about building relationships and fostering connections with government entities and our government partners with and to the school district and being able to provide resources and create those connection points. And so grateful to be welcomed here and be invited here by Mr. Moskowitz and Commissioner Neff to discuss a couple of things. I am going to share some resources that I've got on hand, but also really want to listen and hear about any sort of questions or resources that we can filter back into the community and make sure that those connections get made from you all. On listening, I did hear this piece around the road and leading up to the elementary school over here, and I'm happy to follow up offline and ensure that those connections that occurs. The discussion at the very least. So listening, sharing a couple of resources. So 2 things that I wanted to share just right off the bat, to share that the Clark County School District has a new platform that can be found right on the ccsd.net website to help answer any and all questions you might have and route folks directly to departments and subject matter experts of whatever your question may be in relation to the school district. It's called the Let's Talk system. And like I said, if you go onto the CCSD webpage, there's a button right on the front of that, so you can get sort of particulars there. I was also asked to share a little bit about our change of school assignment process that exists, which is new. This is the second or third year that it's been in place, and what it did was replace the zone variance process. So in the past, there's a zone variance process if you wanted to move schools. Wet signatures needed, you'd go in person to each school and get approval, and found that was a really cumbersome process and wouldn't necessarily lend itself to the equity that we're hoping to achieve within the Clark County School District. And so that is where this change of school assignment process comes into place. So essentially, if you're interested in attending a school that's outside of the zoned school, there is a webpage, and I've got that information. I also left some flyers on that back table with the URL and some instructions as as well, but essentially, once a school has been identified that you would like to transfer to that's different than your zone school based on that geographical area, you would go onto the portal that exists, see if there are available seats in that school. So if it hasn't been enrolled to full capacity, and there are available seats, there's a process that you can go through to essentially a request to move to that school and take that seat. Those requests open up in sort of early in the calendar year, so January, and they run all the way through the 10th day after school starts. So with school that just started on Monday, we've got 10 more days that process, or 10 days from last Monday that process is still open, and that portal is still open and available for folks to request. So you apply, like I said, on the COSA website, I think really, like I said, it's about ensuring that families have and kids are able to access the education environments that are most beneficial for them, regardless of where that may be or what programming looks like within that individual school. So wanted to be sure that you guys had that information, and that's sort of the high level of what I wanted to be sure to do with you all today. Introduce myself, and of course ensure that again, we've got open lines of communication either through Mr. Moskowitz and through the town board to our communications department. And just really happy to be here and happy to listen or be supportive if I can from here.
Thank you, Patricia. I'd like to open this up to the board first. Does any board members have anything to add to this item? So thanks for being here, Ms. Patricia. So I am very familiar with the change of school assignment program. One thing I didn't hear mentioned was that, well, you did mention that, the school district wants to see the students go to the school that they feel comfortable and they want to go to, correct? That's the purpose of the change of school assignment. But if I'm not mistaken, the change of school assignment, you are required to provide your own transportation to that school.
That's
correct? Okay, so I'm sure you're aware Searchlight's very below the poverty line. So essentially, if you're going off of data on the paper, there is no school for a Searchlight student to be able to change to. So I appreciate the information on the change of school assignment. From my discussions with the community over the years is that I believe the community is ready for a discussion of rezoning with the Clark County School District and going the other direction as opposed to Boulder City, as looking at the Laughlin Junior Senior High School for a plethora of different reasons. Would you be able to kind of touch base on how a community would be able to work with the school district in rezoning for their children's school?
Thank you for that question. I appreciate you sharing that. And you are correct on the transportation component of that. So thank you for bringing that up. With regards to zoning, there is a board that is a part of the Clark County School District called the Attendance Zone Advisory Committee. Those are public meetings. They meet on a sort of regular cadence. And that is the board that makes recommendations with regards to zoning and sort of zoning boundaries on a geographical zoning boundaries. So that would be one avenue to sort of explore this conversation. Obviously, I can't speak to whether or not they would be able to, right? Of course, there are many factors that they take into consideration. But that board meets and discusses things like when the new school does open, what does it look like to sort of reallocate what students, who live where, end up attending, which school sort of thing. But the attendance and advisory committee would be one place to look. And then there's the demographics and zoning department within the district that could also potentially be a resource in getting more information about how this zoning was ultimately determined and if there is a pathway forward for a reason.
I would like to comment on that. I think that would be something that the community and the school and the parents in the community would have to vote on. That is not something that I would recommend if I had children in the school. My children went to this school and ended up in Boulder, and it is the better of the schools between Boulder City and Laughlin. Boulder City is an amazing school, and so I definitely think it would need to be voted on between the parents, so it just can't be,
I respect your opinion on the matter. My opinion as being a student of Garrett Junior High and Boulder City High School is the opposite. I feel there's a lot of prejudice to the Searchlight community from Boulder City. If you're not in the clique, then you're kind of kicked to the wayside. My son also attends Garrett as well, so I'm familiar with being a parent for a student at the school also. So I mean, yes, of course, that it would have to be some sort of vote, but we need to get to the point where we can have that discussion and where a vote can actually take place. And if we can't have the discussion and take place of a vote, we can neither be neither here nor there, right? We need to be in a position to have a full discussion with the community, Clark County School District, so we could proceed to either have a vote or however the Clark County School District recommends we would move forward with the matter. So is there anything else from the board on this matter? This time I'd like to open the discussion to the public. Sue?
I just have a quick question on the school thing. I don't know if it'll go to you or to you guys. Does Clark County not already from Laughlin come here to Searchlight? I know they go to Town Park.
I'd like to answer that real quick. I do know there is one bus that comes from Laughlin, comes to the Searchlight Park to pick up one student, comes to the Harry Reid Elementary School to pick up one student, and then takes those students to Cottonwood Cove, which is a very dangerous road past Searchlight. So I've heard the argument from the county before where the 163 is too dangerous and yada yada, but yet in the same token, Clark County School District is willing to take children down Cottonwood Cove Road, which I'm not sure if Ms. Patricia, if you've been down that way, but Cottonwood Cove Road past Searchlight is not safe, especially for the school bus. But if you'd like to touch on that, if you had a...
So I couldn't speak to any particulars in this moment on you know, what, or why those two students are being picked up in that way. It may have to do with some special education accommodations, and that would be a differentiator from the sort of rest of the general ed students, if that was something that, yeah, that would be one thing that.
And Calavera is about 10 miles from Searchlight, and you know, children from Palm Gardens also attend, so we're really the odd ones out here going the other direction. I mean, all of our other government related services come from Laughlin. The only one is the schooling. It's not good for a sense of community, and it spreads our kids out from between Laughlin and Boulder. And I think it's time to kind of change the path that the children of this community are going down. Thank you, Sue, for that question. Is there anybody else? Michelle?
I'd just like to make a statement if I can.
Please come up to the speaker's podium.
Michelle Brown. I'll talk really loud. So good evening, and I want to thank the board for giving me the opportunity to speak tonight regarding our junior and high school students. As a parent, a grandparent, and now a great-grandparent of children that are in the Clark County School District and have either gone to Boulder City to school or who are going to go to Boulder City to school, I think I'm well equipped to speak on behalf of my whole family. I won't spend my time giving you all the reasons why I think Boulder City is detrimental to the education to our children. I'd like to focus instead on why I believe that Laughlin would benefit our students. Searchlight works closely with many organizations in our sister town of Laughlin. Silver Rider, Colorado River Food Bank, the Chamber of Commerce, Parks and Rec, Metro, just to name a few. it's only reasonable that we expand that tie to include our students in the Laughlin schools. As it stands right now, none, zero, of our students are involved in after-school programs due to transportation issues. Sports and educational clubs are as important to the school academic experience and provide many social and educational skills. If our students were to attend Laughlin schools, there are options where transportation would be available since the school district doesn't supply it. The Searchlight Betterment Organization is willing to work with Silver Rider and any other organization to make sure that our students wanting to participate in after-school activities or events would be able to do so. The stigma of Searchlight kids and the constant bullying from Boulder City students and unfair treatment from staff wouldn't be prevalent in Laughlin. Searchlight students go to events in Laughlin and have done activities with Parks and Rec Department, and there have never been any problems. And in years past, we have even had Laughlin teachers come up to our elementary school to do music or arts or other extra things that our school doesn't give them. They're already associated with our children, where from here to Boulder City, no one has seen those children in the first 5 years of their school years. So, again, our sister city, Laughlin, our students are visible there. So there may be some problems should they attend there, but that's going to happen everywhere. But the occurrences wouldn't be on an everyday basis. We want our students to receive the same treatment and opportunities that urban students receive. We want them to succeed educationally, have self-confidence, and be ready to go to college or the working world when they graduate. We want them to have a positive junior and high school experience to look back on. I believe all of this can be accomplished if CCSD representatives and board listen to the parents and students of our community.
Thank you, Michelle. Is there anyone else from the public who would like to speak on this item?
Apparently, this is an important topic to yourself and Michelle. Can we put this as an item on the agenda and figure out, appoint one person to follow up and find out how you proceed in this process?
You can
and how
make the
you bring it
request
about?
to Mark and Tammy there for agenda items.
Yeah, so I would say in this case, I'll work with Patricia and we can kind of coordinate, providing information to the community. I know it's not gonna be like next week an answer, but I figure I wanna give her an opportunity to go back to her team, find out all the options and what really the requirements are. And then she can probably provide that back to myself and I can distribute that or bring it to a town board meeting. I think that's probably the safest bet right now to do it that way, just to give her and her team time to take all the answers and everything she's heard tonight, to bring it up like people wanting to stay in Boulder City, but people also want to go to Laughlin. What do we do when we have that? You know, is there, how the vote works and all that. So I think that.
I mean, if it was able to work out to where you got to choose in transportation, that is also, that would be the greatest, because it didn't matter where you wanted to go, you could send your kids to that school, you know, and you should have that right, you know.
Yeah, and I think that can be, I want to talk with Patricia as well, seeing what our options are with our nonprofits in the community that can transport and stuff like that. So seeing that we could still, everyone could have a school choice, but I don't want to speak for her, but I want to give her the opportunity, so.
We definitely need to discuss like the options, because to me, if you split up the town and half of the kids go to Boulder and half of them, but as I said, this isn't the forum for it right now. It needs to be put on as an agenda item, if you
Yeah.
put it on the meeting. Because,
Yeah.
I mean, she's here representing, but she said this is the first I've heard of this. But it definitely needs to go to a vote of people, and you have to figure out how, in order for the process to move forward. But the only way to do that, I think, would be through an agenda item, whether
Sure.
it be monthly going forward, because this would have to be something that would be prepared and ready for next year.
Absolutely, no one expected something to be said tonight and resolved tonight. Discussion needs to start somewhere, and it started here tonight. So, I would like to give anybody else the opportunity to speak. Anyone like to speak about the Clark County School District? All right, thank you, Patricia. Absolutely.
Just one quick thing, so I will work with Mr. Moskowitz to share some information and dig a little bit more into what a process might look like, and explore that. I also just wanted to share that I've heard from a couple of different from board members as well as speakers around some feelings of bias or feelings of lack of feeling welcomed at the university schools. That's something that I will also take back and share with the appropriate folks that are that may be able to look a little bit more look deeper into that. I did get a little bit of information, and I apologize that I misunderstood the initial question that was posed around sort of the busing. I was able to get a little bit of information on the transportation routes and sort of why some of the determinations have been made to feasibility, operational challenges ultimately around the regular route between Laughlin and Searchlight, which I would be happy to share the details of that with our district as well. So, thank you, and I do appreciate it.
Thank you, I appreciate your time. Anything else from the public, board? All right, thanks again, Ms. Patricia. All right, informational item number 4. Oh, I'm sorry.
I just have one item. It's related to this.
She can stay here.
Natalie Dieter, 275 Indian Street. So just a suggestion coming from a small town in southern Utah, which was a town of about 2,000 people. I played sports all through high school. We were bused to Hoover, which was about 18 miles away. We had a sports bus that ran every night. Boys and girls had to ride on the same bus. There was a sports bus that just ran later after all the kids were done with their sports teams. Boys, girls, everybody, there was a bus that ran later. So just, I don't know why they don't do it here. Just a suggestion.
It's a great suggestion.
Thank you. Anybody else out there? Receive a report from Metro Police regarding activity and statistics during the past month and other area crime concerns.
Hello, everyone. I'm Officer Chris Cheater, Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department, employed now 23 and a half years in the department. Been nice. Been a nice employee. I spent 15 years with motorcycles. Race, and I tell you right now, let's see all the tables. I smoke people at night sometimes, so I don't either. So when you hear this man come up here, I'm gonna say out to you guys right now, it's not an easy job. I have an easy job riding with motorcycles. Investigating those fails. It's very hard to do this day. I've been removed for 4.5 years now, so it's still hard. Stewardship to see that time. You want to know what a fail was like? When you go to Las Vegas and stuff, look on the main roads. You see markings on the road, they're not markings for a water pipe or sewer, they're dead bodies, okay? And they're all over in Las Vegas. And the hard part for me, to go back to town, I can tell you, I've been to each and every one of those Vegas, and it's very, very hard. Doesn't matter what you look like, it doesn't matter who you are, it doesn't matter if you're male or female. Everybody has that time of life, and I have experienced that, so I empathize with you. I do not sleep all that night sometimes, guys, so this man comes up here, I would appreciate it. Excuse me. Whew. You'll spend the time with motors. When he comes up here, I want you guys to kind of think what he goes through on a daily basis. This is not easy. Seeing those dead bodies, I can tell you right now, it's very, very hard. Very hard. I can tell you right now, some of those bodies you see on a daily basis. Okay, so please, he comes up here, in the break, understand what he goes through on a daily basis. He does not have to go out there with Metro on those roads, but he chooses to do that. It is not easy. Trust me. All right? Trust me, because there's things that you smell that you shouldn't smell. There's things that you hear that you shouldn't hear. And I'm living proof of that right there. Okay, so human world. All right, so let's get to business here. All right. Sorry, I'm emotional on that because shit hurts and it's not easy. So let's understand that first. Okay, so there's things that I normally don't do here. I normally don't do side-by-side comparisons, all right, from Laughlin to Searchlight. I'm gonna do that today. Just know where we're at right now. I'm gonna get to that point why I'm doing this right here. So cost of service for the month of July for Laughlin is $309. Cost of service for Searchlight in July 2003 was $29. I don't know what the DUI that you talked about earlier today, I don't know if the person was arrested. No? Okay, so 0 DUIs in that right there, there's 0 DUIs in Laughlin. Battery domestic violence is 11 arrested in Laughlin, 0 in Searchlight. Okay? So we're not going to get to the hotel thing because, you know, there's too many down there. We talked about Terrible's cost of service in July was 3, post office has 0, Beacon Hotel has 0, and the railroad had 1. All right? We go into, there's been 3 burglaries, and I'm going to do something. 3 at 450 Desert Quail Way in Searchlight, 450, East Cincinnati Way, and then 525 Cincinnati. So we had this conversation earlier on in the year about how to take care of the houses, and I'm really surprised I'm coming back here again to repeat this conversation. I guess we need to repeat it, how to take care of the properties. 525 is a beautiful house on the inside. I was there, it is very immaculate. The outside is shady, I'll tell you right now. He turned off his water at his property. Every single tree, pine tree, is dead in his front yard. The grass is dead in his front yard. All the bushes are dead in his front yard and in the backyard. All right, there are no lights coming in at nighttime. We have this conversation, right? You have to protect yourself. This is not a police issue. This is a homeowner issue that became a police issue. So that's you guys once again. You guys have questions, bring it up, right? Protect your household. If this is the vacation house, lean to your neighbors, all right? The one at 450, he had a neighbor watching out for his property. Unfortunately, you know, it was burglarized. I feel bad for the guy. We know who did it. You can tell right now, there's police officers going up and down the street. A Searchlight for the last couple of days trying to find this gentleman right here, and we'll find him, all right? And as far as he goes, we can't, as a community, take care of everybody in Searchlight. We just can't do that, right? There are a few homeless people that are hardworking homeless people that can't afford to live at Beacon Hotel or into an apartment or a trailer, so they gotta live, you know, other places. This gentleman right here, there's somebody that's up on Desert Stage that's been feeding him every night. He is not an animal. He's a human being. He does not deserve to be fed by this person every single night because he's getting his energy to go and break into people's houses. Okay? So we need to stop that right now because it's just not fair. So my schedule, we bring up right now. My wife told me we're going here to be positive and helpful. So I should have started that off in the beginning. But, you know, you hit me hard, you know, so. Okay, so here we go, folks. Okay, this is my schedule. And there's a person that lives in Searchlight that likes to put out frivolous emails about me. That's really not necessary. My work days for everybody in here is 6 o'clock to 4 o'clock. All right, Wednesday through Saturday. That's it, daytime. All right? I do not work at 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm tired of getting these calls at 1 o'clock in the morning saying this person told me to call you 24 hours a day. That is not fair to me. That is not fair to my wife. Okay? So that is my work schedule. Some of you guys have my number. I do not mind you guys have my number, but I do not want my number to be given out to other people. That is not fair to me, right? So we have 34 officers in Searchlight. If a crime happens in your house at night, you can call 111 or 911, depending on the situation. Okay? If a crime happens in the store, the bar, whatever, at night, call 311 or 911, depending on the situation. Okay? Do not wait until I come on duty to bring it to my attention. All right? There are other officers out there that can handle this. Okay? So, if a crime happens in my house, I cannot investigate my own crime, right? I would have to call the police. I would do that. Do I have a back line? Of course I can, right? That's you know, it is what it is. But if something happened to my wife, I cannot investigate her. I'll have to call the police to come investigate that crime because we're related to that. So I cannot use my police powers to write a report. I can't do that because it's kind of biased, right? So I can't do that, and I will not do that. So that's why we have our police officers here in Laughlin to do that job. We'll find the guy, know who he is. You know, it's really a shame because, you know, we were doing really well. We got rid of the last two. This guy was a pain in my ass for a while. He was sleeping out the the senior center. We got him out. Went up to Miss Colton's property. We got him out over there. You know, but when you try to take care of somebody, you try to feed him like he's really part of the community, he's not. He's not. He just preys on us, right? And that has to stop. I have two friends in here. I'm going to say something to you right now. I'm not mentioning their name, but they are my friends, so I just want to say this right here. I read an article the other day about a person that befriended their neighbor's dog, right? Every day, that person would go up there and pet and touch that dog and give that dog little treats. So until the dog became so used to that guy coming over, the guy broke into the house, right? Broke into the house and because he befriended the dog. My dogs, you won't touch my dog, you won't touch my dog, you won't feed my dogs. So I'm asking my friends to make sure you kind of be aware of that right there, because I don't want anything to happen to my friends. I don't want that to happen. I don't want to see my friends become victim of any kind of violent crime and property crime. I don't see that happening because, you know, the guys are defending their dog. I don't want to see that. If you like, you know, talk to me afterwards, but that's between us and I'll send you an article. Just to say, hey, this is what I'm talking about right here. This shit does happen, right? So we can't allow it to happen. All right, so my days off, like I said before, are Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. There are times when you guys will see me in uniform on either Sunday, Monday, or Tuesday, but I'm not doing calls for service, okay? On Monday, I was asked to do a community event, which was to really protect our children of Searchlight. That's all I was in my uniform for. Somebody must have took that immediately on calls for service, so I pulled my phone up, all right? So when you see me in a uniform, does not mean that I am on duty. That means I'm doing a community event on my days off. But I think that sometimes, and I understand how you're very passionate man about your kids, and you should be. I can understand it 110%. I never want to be taken off the streets. So I never taken off the streets because of somebody thinks I'm in uniform. My job that day was to protect our children. We do not want we don't want a mass shooting anywhere in the United States. But we do not want a mass shooting in Searchlight. Okay, shooting God's big. We have 13 kids here, and what are we here doing? All right, I'm here to protect the kids from those days. Okay, so this fits me in uniform doesn't mean I'm working. That's still 311 and 911. It's emergency. Now, am I obligated? I feel obligated to go over there and help out Mr. Hayden's policy? Yes, I do. Right, but that does not mean that. Okay, look, there's Chris. Let's start calling Chris about everything. Right, you got to call 311. You got to generate an event. You got to make this happen. And so when you do that, when you generate an event, so let's say no one came to me, right? Let's say people call 311 or 911, all right? That generates an event. That goes into the stats that says, hey, Searchlight had this many burglaries, this many petty larcenies. That's what it does. So keep that in mind. You know, I love this community with all my heart. You guys know that. I wouldn't be here. My job is going to increase now because there's no bailiff for Judge Hill. So it's going to be an overtime basis for us. So guess what? We're doing that now too. So, and I know you guys, I'm going to bring this up one more time, make sure no one knows. And I know that we have burglaries, we have to take care of our houses, right? We have trees and all this stuff. Okay, good. Okay, so Laughlin finally, after we've asked for a school police officer in Laughlin for years, because not only do you have to do, you know, all the patrol work in Laughlin, all the mental illness, health in Laughlin, we wear different hats. We finally got a school police officer in Laughlin to help us out, kind of take that, relieve that stress from us. I'm a three-man squad. That's all we have. 3 or 4 guys in each squad. Las Vegas has 12 to 13. That tells you who we are right here. So, so we wear a lot of hats. It is, we're happy he's here. I hope that maybe he shows his face up in Searchlight from time to time, but you guys know that you guys have us before that. And as of Monday, I went to school. I said, hey, what is the protocol if something were to happen here? You know, how would Metro get to that school? right? There wasn't any. So if everybody was to the back room, no one could buzz us in. Guess what? Right? Other than having master keys, I don't know what that is, right? I'm waiting for a spot to come down, close the doors down. Wouldn't be good. So we finally have a clicker to let us in and out of that school, okay? Which I think is very, very, very important. And every officer will have, will be listed where that fob is. So any officer on duty or off duty go to where that key is and go to that school and take care of business, right? That's what we're here for, that's what we pay a lot of money for. It's sad, but we don't want any tragedies here because we can't get to the school. Simple as that, right? So like I said before, just make sure we take care of our homes, make sure we take our trees down. In order for a pine tree to die, it has to be without water for quite some time. And everything over there is completely dead. I talked to them on the telephone and I told them, you know, how I felt about it. And he lives next to, what's that guy's name? Quentin. He's next to Quentin. Quentin has a shit old house. His whole house is wood, trash, and debris. So why would you not take care of your property? Why would you want to not put up lights, cameras, if you know that guy's living next door to you? Right? So, let's just take care of our properties, folks, and make sure that we understand that, you know, it's a homeowner issue, not a police issue. It's now a police issue right now because of what happened. So, you know, let's just make sure we take care of this. So, and get this guy on. The guy's name for information, I'll take this name because you guys will be aware of that. His name is Christopher Denny Jr. He is the one that's breaking the houses. Okay, we're working 3 houses. People are feeding them, okay, whatever. People are letting them, I mean, I hate to be rude, it's not like a jerk, but people are letting him stand on our porch. He's not a dog, he's a human being. But he does not deserve the kindness that people are showing him right now because he's just preying on the good folks at Searchlight. That's the end of my rant. I'm going to say this again. I think Searchlight is a wonderful place to be. You don't have the crime that Searchlight has, Laughlin has. You don't have the crime that Las Vegas has or in some other city. So let's keep our prayers with that. We don't want that shit here. We don't want those folks in town. You know, I still get my phone bills off for the predators in Las Vegas. It does not go off for near the Searchlight. He's not going back. Okay?
Thank you,
All
Chris.
right. So any questions real quick? Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I had 2 mental officers come to my house.
Well, you do.
Yeah, I know you did.
Mhm.
But the house they're got the address on it was on the top of the hill. They won't fix the addresses.
Right. Okay, who will fix that? The police or who will?
No,
I
it
don't
was,
know, I've been to the assessor's office, I got a tax bill for his property.
Well, you know what, my wife said about that, we had to do that on about another property, and it was $244 for 30 years, and it did $250, you know, so we had to go through the same thing, you know, so all I can say is that you have to put the work in.
Well, the
Or
road
they
we
do.
got on Desert Quail is a cattle run, it's worthless. I don't even know why they put a name on it.
Hey, I'm with you on that, sister, yeah, I'm with you on that.
Yeah, it's, you know, and
Yeah, but you know what, I mean, whether it's books or not, somebody calls it in as a burglary, and the report was
yeah,
generated.
they come to my house.
How's that? So it needs to be fixed, and if that person's in here that's feeding Christopher Denny, please stop doing that.
Okay.
You will say, okay.
Well, you know what?
Thank you so much.
I'll get rid of coyotes, don't feed them.
Do we,
That's right.
do we
He's
have
not a
any,
coyote, he's a
Okay.
kid,
do
but he's a
we,
bad kid.
He's a bad kid. He's a bad kid. I'm not telling you right now, you know, because you and I are friends.
let's see if we have any other, let's see if we have any other questions out there for Metro.
Hold on one second. Hold on one second. So
Guys, is there
we've been
any,
having these conversations already, right?
Chris, you're gonna have to finish this
Yeah,
offline.
yeah.
This
So
isn't,
we just need to take care of our properties, okay?
thank you so much, and we appreciate the extra work you're doing for clarifying your hours.
Joan, we'll have one more question, then we'll go to the board. Joan?
It's been 20 years.
I'm Joan Messabry, 324 South Montana Street, and Director of the Searchlight Senior Center.
My concern is for our seniors. We all live here, we love the town, we appreciate the law enforcement we have, but we are having a problem again with break-ins, people coming, like our senior center, thanks to the officers, we were able to remove a person camping in our smoke shack and leaving debris. In fact, one day he started a little fire. So we can't have this going on, but I know it is. And several of these people that are homeless, I feel bad about it, but this is something that we have to watch out for. We're not to be responsible for them, even if they have family in the community. But what I'm really concerned about is the break-ins, the security of our seniors, and I'm hoping that 311 would get better. They'll put you on hold. Some people have been on 311 for hours. So that does work, but when somebody answers it. 911, that is a good number when you need someone. But keep in mind that, like Chris said, for safety, please watch your property. A lot of people are putting in cameras, such as myself, and it has helped a lot in our neighborhood. But please keep in mind that we know it's a retirement community, and we do need our law enforcement, and we need people to be aware that even in a small community, you have your crime. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jen. Go ahead and open this to the board. Anything from the board? All right. Thank you, Chris.
Thank Chris, as he says, that he's gave us those hours, because I'm one to blame as well. I see him in uniform off duty, and you know, he's our go-to person. So we forget those days, and we appreciate the extra work that you always do. So.
Absolutely. Thank you, Officer Judy. All right, so informational item number 5, receive a report from Sue Bishop, Senior Operations Supervisor with Southern Nevada Transit Coalition.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Sue Bishop. I'm with Southern Nevada Transit. I've been with Southern Nevada Transit for over 14 years. Started from the bottom of the totem pole, worked my way up. I am proud and happy to say that the services that we've been trying to bring into Searchlight and build on has improved. For our Searchlight Express, we go twice a month, second and fourth Tuesday of every month. Last year, in 22, April, we had 21 riders. This year, we had 28. May, we had 16 riders last year. This year, we had 31. June, we had 14. This year, in June, we had 33. Your people are responding to us. We are using our bus stop, and to say that is a dangerous bus stop. To get a wheelchair or a walker on, we had to pull them into the street. So it's something we really need to look at to get that fixed and be safe. Vegas Express, we have greatly improved that. We pick up people from Calvary and Searchlight. Nobody's used our bus stop for Vegas yet because they always want to get something to drink before they go. So maybe we'll get a machine out there. I don't know, coffee machine. April of last year, we had 452. April of this year was 692. May of 22 was 521. May of this year it's 610. June is 444. This year is 498. That is not only Searchlight and Calvary, obviously. That is Laughlin. But our riders from Searchlight, we have multiple families that come from here to go up there for the day. Okay, Okay, so we do stop at Walmart sometimes, but don't tell nobody. It's for our Searchlight people, because sometimes that's easier than getting them to go down to Laughlin. They just need a few extra things, or they need to go like to the Galleria Mall, you know, they have a few more things up here. So will we cater to them a little bit? Yeah. So it's just what we do. So we appreciate the work you guys have done to get the word out. Your signage out there at that bus stop has brought us some information, because people are calling, hey, I see this sign out there by the park. I'm like, gee, God. So I do appreciate what you guys have done to build the community and get that information out. General updates, SMTC at Laughlin and the organization statewide continue to experience our workforce shortage. CDL drivers are needed. We are shorthanded. We've been shorthanded since COVID hit. People don't really want to work. The one thing we are doing is our pay is not compatible to the Las Vegas pay. We can't be. We can't match that. We are a grant, we're a nonprofit. But we have gone to our board and gone to our grantees and have been able to do some wage increases coming up. And we're gonna start from the bottom of our totem pole. Instead of starting at our top people, we spoke to our top people. They agreed that we need to start from the bottom and bring those wages up so that we can get those drivers, so that we can get more services out there. We are looking at getting a 13% wage increase starting from the bottom and slowly working up to the top. We're not gonna ignore our seniority drivers. They've been with us and fought for us, worked hard for us. We're not gonna ignore them. But we are gonna do the percent increase in starting wages. Like right now, my starting wage to bring in a CDL driver is $14 an hour, which is pretty low. And we agree, it's low, we don't like it, not a whole lot we can do. But we've gone to our board and we're able to get it up to, and I don't know if I should say it, but we are able to get it up to just a little over $16 an hour on this one. So that is a 13% increase from before. And we're gonna try to do that every year. We're gonna work our way from the bottom. We're gonna have to do that for 2 to 3 years before we start showing the top range. Our drivers on the top, they've been with us, they know how it is. They're great, and they work with us. The other thing is our 5311 operation grants. We have been notified that we are 100% of our grant application amount for the grant for this coming year. The grant award pending close to the current grant year. The grant is Transportation in Laughlin, Searchlight, Calvary, Palm Garden, Sandy Valley, Good Springs, and Indian Springs. We will have a brand new Searchlight lowboy bus. Basically what that means is this bus sits so low that when we put that ramp out, there's no tilting of a wheelchair or a walker. So our elderly don't take that chance on tipping back. We have that one coming, hopefully this coming year. One for our Vegas Express, which will service our Searchlight town bar area, and one for our local Laughlin. So we're pleased to get that in. In our 5339 capital grants, I have received quotes for our new, that's our low floor, and we've got for a 4-year award. So right now it's just the 2 in Laughlin. We have others in our other communities, but we're really concentrating on what we can get to bring out here to Searchlight to keep this going. Community partnerships. SNTC has started to bring back the SNTC toy drive. Years ago, when I first started with Silver Rider, we did a toy drive where we brought in bicycles, fixed them. We brought in toys, we got toys for them, where we helped out with our local community. Searchlight is part of our community. I work side by side with our local police. We're Shop with a Cop. We come up here, my company picks up the kids, takes them shopping, brings them back. Our toy drive, we want to be able to come up, get these kids, bring them to Silver Rider, and partner up with our local police. They want to be a part of it, and our local church. So we want to become a group so that we can service more children. So we're hoping that Searchlight will embrace that and let us come in with them. The last and least, not the least, but the most important is our seniors here. I know a while back we spoke of how we lost our homebound food deliveries. Not our Meals on Wheels, but that homebound where they were delivering food to a lot of our seniors here in town. That program went away. They are still working on getting that back. It's not looking like it's coming anytime soon. Meals on Wheels is for the 60 and homebound. I know there's a lot of strings to that because you have to be homebound. You can't be, I don't feel like going out, but you have to be homebound. But I know we have people here that are homebound. But the clients that we have here in Searchlight that take Meals on Wheels is 0. We have 1 in town of already. So we really need to make sure that our community here is being fed properly and have the food coming into that home. So if you guys know of anybody, we set flyers out over there, and as you see on the back of your thing, you'll have our flyer. We don't want our seniors or our disabled 60 and over to go without. I know you have our food bank here, but you gotta understand that's not enough. Our food banks run low on food, which Silver Rider helps with our Laughlin Food Bank, bring food up here once a month, twice a month. And we take people down to Laughlin Food Bank once a month. But the seniors aren't going. My last ride from Searchlight down to Laughlin for the mobile pantry was 3 people. And yet we're getting calls that people don't have food up here. So I need to hear more from y'all about what we can do to help find those people and be able to get them on these buses. Bring food to them. I'm willing to help out if they can't get out. We had one lady, she had a surgery, she couldn't get out. We sent the food up with the driver and got it delivered to her. We will help, we will push forward to make sure that nobody goes without. That's the worst thing. I mean, it's already bad enough with our power bills and everything. We need to make sure our seniors and our community is eating. So I got today.
Thank you, Sue. I'd like to open the discussion up to the board first. Anything from the board?
I do have a question on the homebound. Does that mean disabled or no vehicle? Do they both qualify, or is it just
No,
disabled?
disabled. If they're homebound because they can't get anywhere, give me a call. We have transportation, we'll get them set up.
Okay, and then on the flyer is, for the Meals on Wheels, is the 702-298-4435.
Yep, that's me.
That's the Silver Rider.
Yep.
So Silver Rider Meals on Wheels, they can get both services by calling that.
Yeah, call that number and I'll get them what they gotta get.
Okay, and then for Silver Rider, do they need to call in advance, or can they go on the website? How does that work?
They need to call in advance. They need to call at least 24 hours in advance.
Okay.
If they call me and say, I have emergency, I gotta get going, I wanna make it work. Because we're already coming up here. Our ridership is second Tuesday, the fourth Tuesday of every month. If need be that people are having problems, they can't go on those days because their checks don't come till this day, we can get them set on Vegas Express and take them into Henderson. Understand Vegas Express, they think it's gonna cost them more. Our seniors, 60 and over, it's $5. Our full fare for our Searchlight people, round trip, is $10. If they don't have it, tell me, and we can waive that. That's not a problem. I'm not gonna not take them because they don't have the funds. We already have one little family that we take that we don't charge, and then the other day he gave us a $40 bill. But you know,
Special.
but he didn't want to go without, he felt bad that we weren't charging him. We weren't charging him because he was going through a rough time. He was having problems financially. I'm not gonna tell him, sorry, we can't take you to Walmart to get that food because you don't have that $5. So it's not gonna happen.
We appreciate you so much that, and the fact that the program has increased by just getting the word out there. We're
Yes.
grateful for you very
We
much.
want it to grow more because the more it grows, the more we know you guys are being taken care of, and it helps us ridership. We're a nonprofit organization. Our grants are given basically per our rides. So the more we improve, the more we take care of our community, the more they take care of us. It's kind of a team effort.
Absolutely, and this community really appreciates everything that Silver Rider does. I'm so happy to hear about your guys' numbers going up and doing the raises for the drivers, and I'm glad things are going well, the grants are being processed, things like everything's on the up and up with you guys, and that makes me happy. I know the Searchlight Bedroom Organization would love to talk with you more about the toy drive deal. We do one every year also, so maybe we can kind of work together on that. And then another community partnership question is, are you guys still planning on coming up for Halloween again this year?
I am,
You
yes.
are? Oh, awesome. The kids will love that. That's amazing.
I have to have it. I promised the kids last year, they asked if I would come back and bring the bus, and hopefully we can have a little bit more extra in it. So, we'll bring another 40-footer. It's a new 40-footer too, so it does other things. It talks.
Nice. Like I said, I know a lot of people in the community have the same sentiment as me, but we really do appreciate Southern Nevada Transit Coalition for everything.
We'd like to be invited when you guys are gonna do parades. We
Oh,
used to
absolutely.
years ago, but people stopped inviting us, so we're sad. We don't have parades in Laughlin, we need to talk about that.
Yeah, we'll have to change that.
That's-
Um,
I got some ideas for some parades.
Is there any other questions, concerns from the board? All right, I'd like to open up any questions from the public.
It seems like, real quick, are you picking up new terrorists?
Yes,
Okay, what time is that?
we get there about 5 to 8, we stay till about 5 after 8.
Okay, that's all I need to know. Thank you. A lot of folks just asked me about that, so I had no clue what your schedule was up there.
Yeah,
Okay,
about 5.
thank you.
Anybody else out there have any questions for Southern Nevada Transit Coalition? Awesome, thank you very much, Julie.
Thank you guys, have a good night.
You as well. All right, informational item number 6, receive a report from Michelle Brown with Searchlight Betterment Organization. Michelle had to leave. Let's see if I got the report. Searchlight Betterment Organization, August 2023 report. May 23rd was our second Taco Tuesday event for this year. It was held at the Senior Center where you could dine in with a full meal or just order single tacos. There were also takeout available. The outcome was great, and we will continue to use the Senior Center in the future. Again, this year, we helped to sponsor the Night Owl Bushwhackers motorcycle race on June 16th and 7th. That's July 16th and 17th. As always, the race was a huge success. Members of the SBO sold race t-shirts on both evenings. Shirts are still available at the thrift store for $15 to support the Bushwhackers MC. This month we are hosting the Extreme Tour on August 18th. There will be outreach done from the group on August 17th. This is a trope of wonderful people who donate their time to do street ministry benefiting homeless youth. They will be staying in the Searchlight Church for 2 nights. Thanks, Pastor Runyon, for your hospitality. The SBO will be feeding the folks at the Searchlight Senior Center both nights of their stay. We are grateful for the use of the facilities. The event will be held on Friday the 18th from 4:30 to 8:30 p.m. in the Searchlight Park. Come out and support this worthwhile group, bands, games, treats, and fun. Searchlight Betterment Organization thrift store mural t-shirts are also available for $25 at the thrift store, or you can contact myself if they do not have your size. With that, I'll open questions to the board first. Anything from the public? Thank you very much. Item number 7, receive a report from Kim Colton, Searchlight Volunteer Fire District, regarding calls for service during the past month and other fire prevention issues.
Kim Colton, Searchlight Volunteer Fire Department. We had more activity in July, and obviously recently with the wildland fire. But we had 16 calls to service, 10 were medical, 4 auto, and 2 fire. Versus the last year in 22, we had 15 calls. So we actually were busier than last year. We did not have to run any calls on the wildland ourselves. What we did do though as a community with the Clark County, with the fire department, our chief had us go and do structure watch out there to make sure that the residents on Crescent Peak Road and Chantel and Lyman, I'm not sure what road they're on, but just to be out there during the worst part of the fire so that we could be there to protect their homes should that happen. Unfortunately, that did not come, and everyone up there was safe. And we're very grateful. I was there and helped move 6 of our horses, and we brought them down to Searchlight so they were safe. They were actually dropping the flame retardant around the homes there, and the wildland crews that were there went out of their way to make sure that their homes were safe. So we're very grateful for that. And very sad, obviously, for the environment, and but thankful that nothing happened to the walking box and the people's homes out there. So thank you.
I'd like to open up the discussion to the board first. First, I'd like to say thank you, Kim, and to the Searchlight Volunteer Fire Department. For those of you who don't know, the fire department is volunteers, so, you know, all those brave men and women you see out there when things go down, and you just assume that they might get a big old paycheck or something like that. They're just there because they care about this community, and they're just like us sitting up here. They just want to see people taken care of. They don't want to see crime. They want to see fires. So I'd like to thank Kim and the rest of the volunteer fire department for everything they do for this community.
Thank you.
Is there anything else from the board? And I'd like to open the discussion up to the public. Right. Thank you, Kim.
Cindy,
Oh, I'm sorry.
my name is Susan Berg, and I'm directing this towards the fire department in the town.
I'm so sorry. Could you come up to the speaker's podium, please? Or
Kayla, do you want me to do that?
sorry about that. I couldn't hear you.
On Sunday, as the fire got worse, we knew it was burning even on Friday morning. My husband's outside all the time. He said Friday morning, he smelled it. Friday night, he said, Sue, come here. We could see the red glow already from our porch. On Saturday, it was more, but on Sunday, I went to the fire department, and I didn't know nobody would be there because it is a volunteer, which I understand. But I thought, an emergency like this, maybe one person could be there just to let people that are like me, who have no computer or any kind of stuff like that, give answers. I was scared, and I called. First, I went and knocked at the fire department, and then I called the senior center, and I called the community center, and I called my friends. And when I called everybody of the phone calls, every single one of them was to the answering machine. Nobody was answering me. And I thought, so quiet out here. Am I the only one here? Where is everybody? And then towards the evening, my husband said, Sue, there's somebody at the fire department. He says, walk, don't run. Well, when I saw the two doors going back down, I ran the rest of the way. And I was just so scared. And I asked him, is it safe to sleep in our house tonight? We live like 2 doors from the fire department. And I just could not see any people, hear any noises around. It was so quiet. But yet, we knew the fire was just so close. And I read the newspaper every day, and I watch the news all the time. So that was our way of communicating. But I thought, is there any way we could have, like even when I called, and then the next day I read that the senior center was doing something, but yet when I called in the middle of the day, there was no answer. So I thought they were empty too. And I just felt lost and alone.
And I'm sorry
So
you
the
felt that way.
firemen, when I got to them, they said, no, you can sleep there, you're safe.
So you made a good point, and what we should do in the future, I didn't think that anyone would come to this station directly. We can put a notice on the door with like my phone number or the chief's or assistant chief's, so that you can get communication in that. So that's a great idea, and I'm glad you brought it to our attention. I would have never crossed my mind that you would come to the station. But that's as it goes back to that we do need to figure out some sort of way to communicate in this, because like I don't have availability for news channels in Las Vegas. You don't have an internet. So we do need to have something, and that is a good point in the future, that we will make that available and put a sign on the door with somebody's phone that we will not get a voicemail in the future. So I apologize for that.
I wanted to give that to the fire department, where the bottom says something, and it's stuff on
Thank you so much. We appreciate it, and as I said, we will address that. And that's, this fire was awakening a call for all of us, because it was 10 miles to the west of us, but it could have been here in 10 minutes.
And it didn't get me really until somebody that I knew from Vegas called me up and said, Sue, you and your husband can come stay at my house when you have to evacuate or something. And I thought, oh my gosh, you know, what is going on?
Right.
Can't get a hold of me here. So I started thinking like to go back. I started taking my Bible and I just was looking. I found out I left everything except a change of clothes. I took 2 sets and medicine and my Bibles. But everything else I was leaving behind thinking, but like, we didn't go, because then we saw the firemen, and I ran and talked to them, and they.
Well, we can talk to the parks and
Thank
work
you.
with the Fetterman organization potentially to get a board that would be close to the fire department's doors where people, if they do come, because we have had recently where people will actually, I've had 3 calls, where someone sees the fire department sign and they end up stopping there, and so the call is actually at the fire department. So we need to have better communication, like right there at the fire department.
Something like a message bulletin
Yeah.
board, and distribute different information and updates. So, thank you for bringing that to the board's attention too, and I'm sorry that it went down like that for your situation. At this time, I'd like to open up more questions from the public. All right. Thank you, Ken and Sue. And moving on to informational item number 8, receive a report from Sandra Yasinchak with Justice Court regarding statistics and other activities during the past month.
Hello. Good to be here. Searchlight Justice Court report for the month of July 2023. Court calendar, this is basic information and arraignments. We did about 21. Status checks was 32. All hearings, including trials, did not include walking in traffic, 53. Actions taken, case type filings, new civil citations filed, consistent new civil citations, 209. The old criminal traffic citations, 80. New criminal complaints, 5. Cases closed, 210. Of course, our court dates are every other week, Tuesday and Wednesday. This month in August, it was the 1st and 2nd, and then we do again 29th and 30th. All of course are open to the public and start at 10. Any questions?
Thank you, Sandy. I'd like to open up the discussion to the board first. Anything from the board? All right, I'd like to open it up to the public. Any questions for the Justice Court? Sandy from the Justice Court? Thank you very much, Sandy. Informational item number 9, receive a report from Kathy Flanagan with Las Vegas Valley Water District regarding the status of the water system.
Hi, good evening. Real quick report tonight. Water use for the month of July 2023 was about 5.4 million gallons, which was a reduction of 280,000 gallons compared to July of 2022. There were no leaks or breaks in the district equipment in the last month. Last month, we did talk to you about some fire hydrant flow tests. Those were done today, actually, and we didn't receive any calls about water quality issues, so I'm assuming everything's fine. But that's all done, so that should not be a problem for going forward. And I think Aaron had a couple of comments.
Yeah. First of all, I just wanted to thank Kim. When the York fire happened, I was able to call her and get some information on what the status was and how close it was getting to the community. It allowed us to kind of change our pumping plan to make sure we kept our tanks topped off in case the fire got into Searchlight. On top of that, she actually provided contact information for Chief O'Neill, and we were able to provide GPS coordinates of our well sites and a power junction box, and kind of express how important those sites were, so that they now have GPS coordinates and they flag those on their maps so they know where that critical infrastructure is. So, big shout out to Kim for getting us connected.
Actually, I'd like to thank you for thinking of us. And as I said, the first thing you did was to make sure that our wells were safe and provide for our community. Should the fire get here and the wells go down, like, we would have been in trouble if we didn't have such great people and friends in the water district. Thank you.
It was great coordination from everybody. And like I said, we do have a third well that was kind of far away from that, but we'll be providing that GPS to the fire department as well. So, thank you, appreciate it.
Any questions?
Yeah, questions from the board? I'd like to open up questions to the public. Anything for the water district?
I do. On the flow test, do you have any information on that? Like, obviously, it was your first time you've gone through it, did it flow properly?
Yeah, I mean, they did get flow. I don't know whether it was exactly what they were looking for, and if they didn't express that to us, but the hydrants worked out there. So that was good, you know, we had very limited access for a while to that site, so it was good. We actually now have one of our own locks out there. We're gonna start doing some flushing out there at various hydrants through there. So we'll just confirm that everything, you know, all the hydrants do work.
This is the airport?
Yeah, it's at the airport, yes. So,
Okay, that's good to know.
it was good for us to actually get back out there.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
You're staying until it's late.
Item number 10, receive a report from Will Smith with Clark County Water Reclamation District regarding the status of the wastewater system and water usage. I'm assuming there's no Will Smith, so you can have Kayla read the report tonight.
So for July 2023, there was treated an average of 43,000 gallons per day. July 2022 had an average of 48,000 gallons per day. Difference from 23 to 22, decreased by 5,000 gallons per day from last year at this time. No sewer service complaints for the month of July, 0 call before you dig tickets. And on the back, there's an input monthly flow comparison chart.
Thank you, Kayla. And, informational item number 11, receive a report from Parks and Recreation regarding the status of programs and upcoming activities.
Elon Bilbray, Clark County Parks and Recreation. Statistics for July, Parks and Rec programs here in Searchlight were 5 and had 94 visits. Calavari, there was 5 programs and 27 visits. And then Kyle, you're going to get your update from RPM. We have Justin Williams, who is my administrator. I don't know if you guys have met him before. And then John is with RPM. So we're going to go over to him.
Good evening, board. First, we mess up the microphone. Hopefully this is working. Good evening, board. It's great to be back in Searchlight. It's been a few months. I told you I'd be back eventually to talk about the splash pad. It's been a little while, but we're ready to actually get going on this, and we have some concepts we wanted to show to the public and yourselves tonight. It's an informational item, but we do have an opportunity to maybe do some voting on these after the meeting, at the end of the meeting. We're going to give you some stickers and allow you to vote on what's your favorite element or favorite design. We wanted to get some feedback from you guys as the board. John's here from Real Property Management. They're in charge of actually doing the construction. The contractor's already on board. He's the ones that have developed these concepts. So it's going to be a fairly quick start once we get a decision made about what we want to have in there. He can talk about that a little bit. I do have some 8.5 by 11s for you guys, so you can hand those out so you can have them, put them in your record. I'll let John talk about some of the timeline and process we're going forward. And then what we'll do is we'll kind of give you some directions on how we can do some voting at the very end. Hopefully at the very end, everybody can hang around and actually participate so that we can get some feedback from you guys. So, John?
Thanks, Justin. Good evening, everyone. My name is John Advent. I'm Manager of Design and Construction with Real Property Management. Yes, we've been working with Parks and Rec and our contractor and their vendor to develop some concepts for the splash pad renovation / modernization. We've kind of expanded it a little bit. Currently about 350 square feet. We're trying to make it a little more symmetrical to the site and change the look a little bit while staying within the footprint and the current look that it has out there with some of the similar elements. So we've kind of put together 6 options with different features and elements that we'd like to get the feedback from the community. As Justin said, we do have our contractor on board. We are executing this project under a new program that we have called job order contracting. So that allows us to work directly with the contractor to price up and scope out the work. It expedites delivery. We don't have to go through the formal bid. That, typically adds a bit more time to these projects. So we're excited to really get started on this. Once we have feedback from the community on which direction we'd like to go, we can wrap up our pricing with the contractor, move into a formal contract and work on a schedule. But our goal is to have this done through the winter and be ready for Memorial Day when splash pad season opens.
All right, I'm going to open up this discussion to the board. So is the square foot, how much bigger is this one compared to what's there currently?
It's currently about 350 square feet, I believe, and this is approximately 523 square feet.
So it's a fairly size larger than what's there, or
It's
just?
gonna grow a little, yeah, a bit, about 110 square feet, 120 square feet bigger.
So everybody knows kind of the shape it is. It's kind of a plastic egg, half plastic egg shape right now. And then there's like 5 foot of like pavers between the sidewalk and the curb. We're gonna take this all the way out to the sidewalk, get rid of that paver section and then round it off to be kind of a true half circle. That allows us a couple things. It allows us to place the elements in and don't have all that overspray and issues. It doesn't allow us to get a bunch of new elements per se, but it allows us to kind of make the splash pad really its own slice, right? Right now it's kind of like half covered and the palm trees kind of spray over the edge of everything. So we're trying to make it so it's a little bit easier to maintain, easier to keep up. It will also come with a new pump system and a new cloth system so that it button actuated instead of the egg timer actuated, I think, which is now. So it actually have a button. That's what the little yellow post or the cactus thing is. It's actually a button actuator. It'll hit the button, it'll come on for a certain period of time, and it'll stop until someone else hits it again. But hopefully a little bit more interactive, hopefully a little more exciting for the kids, and hopefully they can cool off in the heat, right? Next summer. So
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I'm just, I'm from Searchlight, so I'm not super familiar with these splash pad amenities. So some of these I'm looking at, would more than a couple kids be able to play in it, or?
Yeah. These are, so, like you said, it's about 300-something square feet, so that's pretty good. You can have 6 or 7 or 8 kids in there running around, probably with no problem. I guess here you'll have all of the kids in there, and that's probably gonna work too, right? They're all gonna show up and want to play at the same time. And I think we have 13 kids right here. I think they all probably could get wet and laugh and enjoy that, but you're not gonna put 40 kids in there. By any means.
Yeah, be a little dangerous, right?
Right.
Does anyone else have any questions from the board?
I do. What is the current gallons per minute that's being on the?
That's a good question. I do not know what you're doing as well on the splash pad.
And we'll have to look with our contractor to make sure that it can be accommodated at the site. Is that kind of where you're headed?
Well, yeah, just curious, because as I said, it's there all over the place. I mean, and this water is not recycled. So we want to make sure that we stay within probably where it's at now, so we don't have a big increase, because if you're talking, one's down to 27 gallons per minute. So to me, that would be one of the primary decisions on when you look at the design on what we're doing. So I don't know if this decision has to be made tonight, or if it's something, okay.
I will say, I'll add that, this layout that we went with is meant for the infrastructure that's in place now to be able to support that, right? So we would be at or equal or less than what we're using today. We're not increasing like water line sizes or fees or anything like it. The layout is kind of similar to what's out there today because we didn't want to have to add water meters, increase water usage. So what supports it today will be able to support this.
Okay.
So it's
But it would
pretty similar, is that what you're?
Yeah.
So the problem, so some of these go from 27 gallons per minute, though, then the highest goes to 58, so we're talking double. So it'd just be nice to know what it is currently, so that, stay within that, like, when you're looking at some of the pictures. And I'd have to say, this would be my only other comment, is, do they know this was made for Searchlight? Like, we're a mining town, could they have not maybe put something in, instead of a June bug and the closest thing is this big rock looking thing that is twice the gallons per minute. But I just think it might be something that you ought to consider when you're looking at the design, is to consider where it's being installed. I drove by Bullhead and saw they have some amazing water park. And they have a mining bucket that fills up and it dumps. And I'm like just kind of to me,
I
like
think
there would
to our
be
district, I
something
think.
that would be like relative to our town when you choose the
Would that be
design.
something worth looking into?
Absolutely. I think that was the intent we were trying to go with a little bit with the rock, was more mining. The half circle is meant to kind of, it's not a color rendering for half wagon wheel, so that safety surfacing could be colored and designed as like a wagon wheel with the rock and, so that was kind of the intent on that, was that approaching mining. And we could definitely refine those more to kind of.
Yeah, I mean, just little tweaks to make it, don't have to go through the whole start from the bottom up,
Wagon wheel.
but yeah, wagon wheel, like she mentioned, a mine cart, just.
I like the cactus button.
Is there a cactus
cool.
button? Yeah, that would be good,
Cactus
yeah.
button.
And all this comes from a company called Water Odyssey, that's who the contractor worked on. And we go back to the product book and see what else they have, and we find something that might be more fitting.
That would be good. And then, if we want to stay within the same gallons per minute of what's going on,
Yep.
so we don't see a high increase in our water. Because they will like it, and it's the cactus button, it's gonna get pushed
It's
a
gonna
little
be
more
popular for
often.
the first summer or two, I think, and we probably will use a little bit more water, right?
Yes.
But that's a good thing for kids.
Another thing I wanted to touch on was, would it be, possible to maybe put like a couple benches around it for parents?
Absolutely, yes. We're actually kicking around the idea of perhaps doing a seating, like a seat wall around the back of it so that parents could sit in at the splash pad with the children. We could definitely add some benches.
Yeah, that would be cool for parents to hang out with their kids, Yeah, I mean, I like the direction this is going, absolutely. Is there anything else from the board? Taylor?
See something going there.
And just to confirm, so you're thinking of breaking ground winter and then opening Memorial Day?
That's right. We have the contractor on board. As soon as we can get confirmation on the theme and direction that we would like to see, I can finish up the proposal, we get a purchase order with them, and we can schedule for it. So, the intent, it's gonna depend on the lead time to get the stuff in, but the sooner the better, we'd like to have it. So, purchase order, get material on hand, and we schedule the work.
I know we threw some little tweaks at you guys tonight, but what would be the next step in kind of making sure this stays on track?
I mean, if we do a couple of different versions, I can come back next month and show them. And we can have them vote tonight on some ideas, but then we can, if we have some reiteration, then next month, come back and have you guys see, maybe we have two next month.
Yeah, absolutely. And would the project still be in the same timeframe for completion at that point, or?
I mean, obviously, every month we lose, but it's a little bit, so the quicker I go, the better. I can find out what lead times are looking like, but I think if we had one more month of kind of design feedback and the confirmation on the direction, and work with the contractor, kind of tee that up, we may even be able to lean into some of the stuff to get them teed up to go right away. But it's, with everything in construction has lead time on materials, right? So when we pick the features that we want, we can confirm those lead times. And then when we have all materials on hand, we can get out here and go.
Sounds great. I know you guys had 6 tonight, maybe can you bring 3 back next time and we can just finish up next month?
Tonight. Oh, right, thank you guys so much for coming. I guess, do you have an opportunity to kind of explain like what the intention are, those ones that currently are, or maybe they can kind of like alter it quickly, and then second thing, are we able to maybe to help keep it time, like just put them in the community center during open hours and people in the public can kind of walk through and kind of make notes or kind of like a comment box, just maybe to like sort of have another month and then it's like, yeah. Just for your guys.
I mean, I could come in one evening too, that's not a town board night, like,
We could do that.
we could do that.
Yeah.
Our plan was to leave those boards, those shiny boards, if you wanted to keep them and keep them in here and can oversee maybe a QA or something. We had some other paper ones on the table there that we were gonna have everybody put stickers on, but I don't know if that's maybe next week's better, or next month's better than after Canada vote. We want to get your feedback. We want you guys to feel like we're getting something that you have input on. That's
Absolutely.
kind of why we're here.
Right, and we appreciate you guys being here.
Yeah, I like the idea of just kind of like a wagon wheel. Are there any other like aspects of that could kind of?
To tie in, yeah, so
Yeah.
if we were to color the safety servicing in that desert mining wagon wheel style, I think the seat wall, we can incorporate a design that could, maybe it's more mining, finishes on the end, the flat top. I like the rock, I think that fits with it, maybe we could look at side sprays that we kind of pull that in and maybe pull that together. With the other restriction that we're working with is that we're trying to fix features that work with this layout, this spray pattern board. So that limits us a little bit as well. So I definitely would suggest we refine the rock concept. And if there were another two that the community preferred, that we could work on. So there, but I think, there's a couple of things I think we could do. Maybe there's some non-spray features that could get speckled in with it, that we may be able to look at as well, just from a theming aspect. Benches as well, see, perhaps there's something we can get there.
And one of the things that we asked the design group to look at was the durability of these things and longevity of these things, knowing that it's out here in a rural area where it's gonna maybe take a little bit of wear and tear from the kids or from the sun and all that things. We're trying to make sure that they were themed, but there was some durability to them, that this would last as long as we can get it to last, right?
That was my next question. Yeah, to make sure that the colors and all that.
Yeah, colors, and colors, I think are awesome. There's some options.
We can change colors, yes, if there's a theme that we need more colors and browns, then we can change colors around them. Instead of a white blue, right?
Yeah. Thank you guys. I appreciate both RPM and Parks and Rec for coming out and doing this stuff.
Thank you very much, guys.
If we know you're gonna come next time, then maybe we can get the word out to the kids and have them come, or get a vote before them, maybe from parks, like, it's more about the kids, I guess.
Yeah, well, Ayla and I have that conversation.
Yeah, so I can go to the school maybe and get their feedback too. My only thing with that is the features, yeah. So like to me, looking at it, if you look and you see like the guns, I don't know how well the guns are gonna hold up here in Searchlight.
Then, yeah, I'd have to say the guns.
So, but the kids, they're gonna want the guns, because the guns are cool and they can squirt their friends, right? So,
I feel doing something here at the center, maybe like right after school, where parents and kids could be together. So it could be a community conversation instead of a closed conversation at the school, where we get everybody's input, So I think doing a Q&A, like you mentioned, here at the center would be a progressive move, to get this design figured out. How did you?
Features you see on the different layouts would work with other layouts, right? So if you survey by feature, and then maybe there's an overall concept we like, but we want to switch features.
So it's interchangeable.
These are all
Yeah.
kind of interchangeable.
Well, yeah, I'd like to thank you guys again for coming out and then getting this project as far as it's come and keeping it going. One last time, anything from the board? I'd like to open up any questions from the public. Officer Jeter?
Yes, sir. From officer perspective, is there gonna be a shut-off valve or a timer on that, so let's say 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, the lights are not coming on? Only reason I'm asking that question, so I think one is a bunch of homeless people come in, kind of take baths and stuff like that.
They can't be
So, and just the reason I say that, from San Diego, we got a new place called Orca Plaza down there. And if you're familiar with that, so you guys know what happened when the homeless got to it, and it's a cesspool down there. So last thing I want to see is the kids, you have to come in the morning to see something they shouldn't see in there. Play that bucket. Okay.
You can't program them to turn off at park hours, so we should set park hours, you have that actuator to turn off so that.
Yeah, they're seasonal, and they can be programmed for certain times of days, and usually we have to set aside hours. Board asks us to do something, but we'd have to do that through our van, but there's a possibility we can modify them. I said, you're absolutely right, we deal with the homeless in Las Vegas, in the water parks, we try to do our best to make sure that's not what it's used for. Right. It's for the kids, it's for the community, and not for the needs.
I'd like to steal the time for the public for one moment. A little sort of related to the splash pad. I'm not, raising fists or pitchforks or anything. Just like to kind of see where the county's at, or Parks and Rec, RPM specifically, about the reopening or planned reopening of the restrooms at the Searchlight Park.
I didn't know they were closed, but I don't know.
That's for maintenance.
Okay.
That is our operations side. I can go back and ask that question.
Yeah, so we get the questions about a lot, and, the community understood for the most part the initial shutdown. But, just people, as time goes on, are just kind of getting concerned, like, is this gonna be a forever thing? Is there a plan here? What's going on, So the porta potties are working, it's, like I said, we're not coming at anybody with pitchforks or anything like that. We just kind of want to know what's going on,
A beautiful splash pad and no bathrooms.
Right.
So we'll be glad to have both of them
Absolutely,
open.
absolutely.
I'll actually go back and speak with the director.
Yeah, that'd be very appreciated. Thank you, sir. And then I'd like to offer the opportunity one more time to the public. Any questions or concerns?
I just, I looked at some designs, I had it look for us better, not fire. And they do projects like your cartoon also. And I was hoping it wasn't gonna be so simplistic. Okay, there's no water showers coming out of the ground, you don't have any little fountains or anything, it's because of free penalties. Is there any way you can expand on any of the water, with some interactive tubes, or, there's even a fire hose thing that you could get, or any more interactive type water blending sensory thing, other than just sprinkler.
Yes, we did look at this, so we have the stipulated budget for the project, so trying to design within the budget, within the current infrastructure for water. That could be a suggestion that came back from the community, we can look at other options that we could put in within this kind of layout. We expanded it a bit, to try to modernize it and make it more functional. But some of it's budget driven, some of it is infrastructure driven, but there are other features that could be looked at.
I just want to see Searchlight as the best splash pad that they can get, and it's a little disappointing. Although it's amazing because it's new and you're going to be safe, and that's the important thing. The splash pad we have now is not safe. And there's a lot of kids that run around when they're on that cement. So I'm truly looking forward to an improvement. And thank you for your generosity and looking for it. I just would like to see this a little bit more. That's all I got.
Thank you very much, Sandy. Is there anything else out there from the public?
There should be a toilet somewhere in there.
Oh, she said a bad word, no.
There is one I'm looking forward to.
Towards be better than the June bug.
Or under, 6 hours of holding up the bench for the adults.
Thank you for that, Judy. We needed that. Anybody else out there? All right, thanks again, guys. We really appreciate your time so much.
Thank you.
Item number 12, receive a report from Tyler Young with Searchlight Library regarding current and upcoming programs.
Hi, I'm Michael Chapman, the library assistant at the Searchlight Library, and we have over here on the table flyers for every single solitary program that we have. We have events about 3 times a month, all month long. So what I wanted to do is let you know about a couple of corrections or changes to things that may be listed on the calendar if you happen to pick up a calendar. We're continuing feeding the kids after school with the 3 Square program. And our hours are from 3 to 5 on Wednesday and Thursday, and they should be Friday and Saturday 11 to 1, although Friday the kids are still in school at 11, so we're probably going to have to do some tweaking with that, with the 3 Square folks. Tuesdays, most all of the kids go somewhere else after school, so we don't have meal programs on Tuesdays. Also, we're closed at 3 o'clock on Friday the 18th, so we're not going to have a nighttime story time because we're not open, so that was something that we missed there with a little bit of oversight there. I want to thank Mark and also Michelle for allowing us to go to the health fair last month. It was a huge success for us. We provided COVID test kits for people at the health fair, and we also signed up 10 people for library cards, which was fantastic because I signed up 10 people in the 2 years I've been here total, so that was amazing. Also, last month, we had our first ever game show day, which was a lot of fun. We had 9 people come to that, and I was a game show host for an hour, and it was lots and lots of fun. We played all different kinds of TV show games. So what I'm going to be doing is bringing that program to the Cottonwood Apartments on the 30th of August and bring the game show day to them as an outreach program. So hopefully they'll have fun with that. And that's pretty much it. Anything else is, as I said, on the table back there with the flyers of all the other programs that we offer.
Thank you very much. Open the discussion to the board. Any questions for Library District?
Just a comment, thank you for doing the outreach to the seniors, that's fantastic.
Oh,
It's the
sure.
first time that
Yes, that's something that they really appreciate, and they also like it when we bring painting to them. Hopefully, that's something we can also do. But I'm glad you brought something up. At the health fair, we also partnered with Feeding America, and they provided us bags to give people weekend bags of food, and they had a lot of food in them. And so we're grateful to Feeding America for partnering with us to be able to do that at the health fair as well.
Thank you very much. Is there any questions out there for the Library District from the public? Thank you.
I would just say thank you, Michael, and Tyler, as well, for coming to the health fair. It's really great to be able to sign up 10 people. That's wonderful news. So.
And moving on to item number 13, receive a report from Kyle Myers regarding current road conditions and public works concerns. Well, we kind of addressed the one earlier with Mr. Bennett. That was brought up at a previous meeting. I've had no reporting done this last month, but I will take any questions or concerns.
Yeah, Kyle, I had a chance to talk with Vic Peters, and he is the project manager for NDOT for the repaving through the town. And I was talking to him, I said, hey, we want to do something with beautify the road through here, and do we have any easements that we can use to encroach upon those? And he said, well, he's a great guy to talk to because he doesn't talk fast, and he thinks before he's going to respond. So I can just feel like he's really thinking. He says, well, we're going to start this in March of next year, but he says, I'm going to go back to my team, and we may be able to do maybe planners out there. He says, I can't promise anything because it's budget and also a timeline because these are federal funds, they have to be spent. He says, but he does have some leeway. So I was encouraged. He said, don't get too encouraged. He's careful with his words. But he says we may be able to do something out there. So I was pretty encouraged. I'll keep you guys updated. I know, Mark, I talked about putting something on the agenda, but I really didn't have anything concrete yet. Okay. So maybe when I talk with Vic, we can proceed more with an agenda item on there. So.
Yeah, that's great news. Thank you for doing all that work, for getting that information. So to reiterate,
it took about 16 calls to get to him.
Yeah, it usually does. So then they're thinking about incorporating that into the repaving through town.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. That's great. Seems like you have that under control. So yeah, keep us posted. And is there any other public works concerns or questions from the board? I'd like to open up any questions to the public. All right, and moving on to item number 14, Announcements of upcoming neighborhood meetings and county or community meetings and events. Anyone have any announcements?
Just the animal vaccine clinic on the 19th.
And what time is that one?
9 to 11.
9 to 11, everybody.
Thank you again, Kevin, for
We'll get the word out there that this would be the second vaccination, and then
Yep.
all the animals would be good for 3 more years. So,
It's exciting.
about 60 last year, so.
Hopefully we can get at least the same, if not more,
Yeah.
right? Everyone bring your dogs, your cats.
Kayla's got 3, so she better be on the list.
Better be there. Is there any other announcements up there, upcoming meetings or events? All right, so moving on to planning and zoning.
Wait, one more.
Back up.
It's now the time to get
What's the protocol, name, right?
Yeah.
Elias Askins, last name, Askins, with the USDA in Las Vegas. Some of you may remember me, I was here a few months ago.
Good to see you.
Let's see, 3 minutes, let's see if I can do this. Let's start with the announcements. As you may recall, I mentioned that I'm with RPN, Rural Park Reach Network, new program under